No! Drink the bleach!
Hey everyone, welcome to Reading Backwards, the manga reading vlog permanently stuck in the past. My name's Tim, and it's time to talk about Bleach Chapter 3, Head-Hittin. This is the first chapter of what could arguably be called the first real story arc of the Bleach series. Kind of. The story arcs in the series work a lot different in the beginning than they do later on in the series. In these early chapters, first of all, the story is a lot more of an urban fantasy. It definitely has that feel, that kind of genre feel to it. It has the backdrop of early 2000s urban Japan with supernatural elements sprinkled in, very low fantasy, relatively speaking. And all the story arcs are very short. They're all these monster of the week type scenarios that are only a few chapters long and always have Ichigo going up against some new hollow enemy. And the stakes are always relatively low as well. Whereas later on in the series, it becomes much more of an epic questing fantasy that has our heroes traveling to other dimensions, fighting big evil bad guys, trying to take over the world, and having these massive landscape-leveling Dragon Ball Z-esque battles. And the story arcs can last from anywhere from dozens to hundreds of chapters. So it became a much different beast as time went on. But for now, everything is still very simple. Ichigo is still learning how to become a Soul Reaper. This chapter actually opens up in the park with Rukia, training him how to fight Hollows. She tells him that generally Soul Reapers immediately go for the head as soon as they engage a Hollow. One swift strike to the back of the head is the surest way to destroy a Hollow. And so to train him on this, she set up a pitching machine that pitches baseballs that he's supposed to hit. And she's drawn heads on half of them and hands on the other half. And he's only supposed to hit the ones that have heads on them. The problem is, and with this we get another reoccurring gag throughout the series, that Rukia loves to explain things to people through drawings, but she can't draw for crap. And so Ichigo can't tell which ones he's supposed to hit because the heads look exactly like the hands. It's very goofy, very quirky, but they kind of have this argument about it because Ichigo has just been hitting every single one of the baseballs, regardless of what's on them, because he can't tell the difference. And Rukia is kind of impressed, but at the same time annoyed that he won't get the point of her training. And so while they're arguing about this, they're snuck up on by Orihime, Ichigo's classmate. And she's, like I said in the last video, she's this kind of sweet, bubbly, girly girl. She has some small talk with them. And in the middle of the conversation, they notice that she has this massive bruise on her leg. And they're like, what is up with that? Are you okay? And she's kind of standoffish about it. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. I mean, it hurts, but it's no big deal. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. And they keep pressing her, and eventually she's like, I gotta go. I gotta get dinner ready at home, so I'll see you guys later. Ichigo even offers to walk her home, but she turns him down, which is odd because she clearly has this unrequited crush on him. But she walks off down the street, and Rukia seems to have noticed something about her that Ichigo didn't. And she asks him, are you and that girl close? To which Ichigo explains, kind of. He tells her that Orihime was raised by her brother. She had this brother who was significantly older than her, and he kind of raised her as if she was his daughter. They have this very tumultuous home life that we'll get into later on in the story arc. But one morning, while her brother Sora was leaving for work, he was hit by a car right outside their house. Orihime found him, and she helped him get to the Kurosaki family's clinic. And they tried to help him, tried to save his life, but his wounds were just too severe. And Sora actually died in their clinic before they could transport him to another, better hospital. And so that's how Ichigo knows Orihime. Not just that she goes to the same school as he does, but his family was with her when her brother died. It's very sad, but he explains this to Rukia, and she thinks about this for a moment. Like I said, she noticed something about Orihime that she doesn't point out immediately. The two of them head home, and we find out that Rukia has actually not been able to return to Soul Reaper headquarters. When she lost her powers, she lost her Soul Reaper status. She's not considered a spiritual being anymore. She has to inhabit this temporary human body, and so she cannot go back to the Soul Society until she gets her powers back. So in the meantime, she's actually been bunking with Ichigo. She's been secretly sleeping in his bedroom closet, which disturbs him for obvious reasons. And she's also been stealing his younger sister's clothing, which is also kind of messed up. But as far as Rukia is concerned, what the rest of the family doesn't know won't hurt them. But later that evening, she gets an alert from the Soul Society that there's going to be another Hollow attack. And in fact, this Hollow is right on top of them. And so she opens up the cupboard. She jumps out. She puts on the magic glove and slaps Ichigo's soul out of his body. As soon as this massive snake-like Hollow explodes out of this crack in the air. And it attacks them. And Rukia tells him, Ichigo, remember your training. Go for the head. And he does. But the cut he makes with his sword is just a little too shallow. And so instead of killing this thing instantly, it chops away a portion of the bone mask that all these Hollows wear, and it reveals a portion of the Hollow's face underneath. And so before it can escape back into its portal, Ichigo sees who this thing is underneath its mask. And so Rukia gets ready to take off after this thing. Ichigo stops her and says, hold on a second. That was Sora. That was Orihime's brother. What's going on here? To which Rukia finally explains something that she probably should have explained to Ichigo much earlier, that all Hollows are in fact former humans. They were all humans whose souls, for whatever reason, couldn't find their way to the afterlife. And whether it was through anguish or anger or depression or being attacked by another Hollow, those souls were corrupted and became Hollows themselves. And now they hunger for the souls of the living. And she tells Ichigo, look, when we talk to Orihime later, I could tell that the bruise on her leg wasn't normal. It was left there by a Hollow. When Hollows first start to feed on human souls, they attack the people they knew in life. And so if it's done going after you, it's probably going to go after his sister next. So we need to stop it. And so we end this chapter with a few panels that show us a scene going on at Orihime's apartment. She and her friend Tatsuki are sitting down having dinner. In the same room is a shelf that has a little teddy bear on it. And the teddy bear has a slash down the side of its face in the exact same place where Ichigo cut the Hollow's mask earlier. And that's where that chapter ends. So not all that much goes on, but we do get a setup for what I remember being a really cool story arc that kind of gives our characters a moral quandary in addition to a really cool Hollow fight. But we'll talk about that later when we get to chapter 4. Until then, remember, before you read your manga, flip it around and read it backwards. Take care, guys.
Bleach is healthy. It's mostly water. And we're mostly water. Therefore, we are bleach.